What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. I wanted to break down the Tennessee spring game, give you my thoughts on it, and just how this game maybe affects my opinions, my thoughts for this Tennessee team heading into 2019. It was a really slow start for the offense. Jarrett Guarantano looked horrible, honestly, early in the game. He was holding the ball too long, inaccurate on some throws, throwing the ball out of bounds. I mean, it was not a good start, but you saw late in the first half, he really picked it up, and it kind of makes you scratch your head and try to figure out what's this kid going to do in 2019, because he has a lot of potential. He's shown flashes of being a great quarterback, but then there are other times when he's maybe doesn't look so great. So that's going to be really interesting. I think obviously the quarterback position is really important, and that's going to be a big key to Tennessee's success, is Jarrett Guarantano's success in 2019. Like I said, he held the ball a little too long early in the game, but maybe that's an issue with the offensive line as well. They did not look great in this game. The Tennessee defense looked pretty good, and you would expect that. You know, a Jeremy Pruitt team, you would expect to be sound on defense, and that's what we saw in this game. And they didn't hold back. They were bringing blitzes. They were it looked like they had the whole package on defense, so the offense had to try to work around that defense, and it took them a while, but again, they did adjust. I had a couple of touchdowns late in the first half, and really Guarantano settled into the game and looked really good, found his rhythm, and you could see the weapons that they have at receiver. We already knew this. This team is loaded at receiver. I think it's one of the top receiving groups in the SEC, maybe even the country, because they've got guys that can catch the football. They worked it to the tight ends a little bit more. You could see that. I think that's going to be part of the Jim Chaney offense, is using those tight ends more. So offensively, we go back to the run game. They didn't have much of a run game. That's going to be an issue. And again, I think that kind of goes back to the offensive line, because we know they have talent at the running back position, but the offensive line just wasn't great in this game. They probably are going to be starting 2 true freshmen on that offensive line. We don't know about Trey Smith. What's his status going to be? I think that's going to be a big impact on this team. If he can play, he's a game changer on the offensive line, and if they have him, I think it really elevates this offensive line and overall this offense. So that's going to be a big key for them. Without him, I think this offensive line is going to have some bumps. They're going to be young, and they're going to be talented, but they're going to be young, and I think it's going to take them a little while to kind of gel together. So offensively, we may see some of the same struggles we saw last year with their inability to run the football, and then, you know, just some inconsistency from Guarantano at times. I thought Brian Maurer, the freshman quarterback, played really well in this game for a freshman. Now, he made a couple of mistakes, had a couple of interceptions, but some of his throws were just so accurate. He would hit the receiver to where they would be able to catch it and run after the catch. That's something I kind of noticed. Just his passes were on the money for the most part, and I was really impressed with him, especially the way he came out of the gates. He was 5 for 5, I think, on that first drive, and they got into the red zone and just ran it 3 straight times. Didn't even give him a chance to throw it. I think they would have maybe scored a touchdown on that first drive that he was in there, but instead settled for the field goal. Speaking of the interceptions, Jalen McCullough, a true freshman, actually picked him off twice, and one of them almost went all the way back for a touchdown. So he looks like a very bright spot here for this defense. He was really, I mean, I didn't really see individual players stand out on defense, but just collectively, I thought they were pretty good. Again, going back to the tight ends, we saw a touchdown catch by Dominic Wood-Anderson. He was a tight end last year. Didn't do a whole lot, but I think he's going to be used a lot more this year. And also, true freshman Jackson Lowe had a very nice play. Looked like he was going to outrun the defense there for a minute. You could see his athleticism. But then it was a great play from behind. A defender punched the ball out and created a turnover. So they were creating turnovers on defense. They were really just flying around, and the defense looked good. They looked solid. I thought there was a pretty good drop-off, though, from the first team defense to the second team defense. The second team defense seemed to, you know, especially in the secondary, seemed like receivers were getting open a little bit better. And again, maybe that's part of why we saw some success from Brian Maurer. And that's something that Philip Fulmer talked about if you were watching the game when he was up in the booth. They just don't have the depth yet. He said that's going to take another couple of recruiting cycles. So that's going to be interesting for Tennessee. How does their depth, how do they look there, especially late in the season? They kind of fell apart, ran out of gas the last couple of games last year and didn't make a bowl game. I think they've got more depth this year. Had a very solid recruiting class this past season. But that, again, could be a really big deal for them going down the stretch. I don't think Tennessee is anywhere near competing for an SEC East championship. I don't think they have enough there. The pieces aren't quite there yet. But I think this is definitely a team that can get to a bowl game. The schedule is not that bad in the non-conference. They do face BYU, but other than that, they should easily win their other games. So you're looking at most likely this team winning their 4 non-conference games, and you just need a couple of wins in the SEC to get to a bowl game. So I think that's very possible. But I think the defense is going to be solid. I don't know that they're going to be I don't think they're going to be a top 3 defense in the SEC, but I think they might be in the top half. Offensively, though, that's going to be the big concern, just like it was last year. They've got to run the football better. The offensive line's got to play better. They've got to protect Jarrett. He's got to make good decisions and use his legs a little bit. We really didn't see that much last year. He's an athletic guy. Move around the pocket, run on a 3rd down when you need to. He's got to step up and do some things like that. Some of the little things that maybe he didn't do last year. And if he can do that, and if the offensive line can play better, again, the skill positions are great. They've got a lot of talent at running back, a lot of talent at receiver. So the offense has potential to be really good. It's just a matter of putting it all together, and are they going to be ready to take that next step? That's the big question. Again, defensively, I think they're going to be pretty solid. I don't think teams are just going to run up and down the field on them. So those are my thoughts on the Tennessee spring game. I'd love to get your thoughts, especially if you're a Tennessee fan. What did you guys see in this game? What did you like? What did you not like? Anything you want to add to this video, feel free to do that. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports SEC Football Channel.